Well, it's time now for our press review with Leo McGuinn. Hi, Leo. You're starting with campus protests really spreading across Europe now.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about pro-Palestinian protests at universities here in France as well in the US. They've really started to heat up across Europe now, including the Netherlands. This is the front page of the country's biggest newspaper, De Telegraaf. Anarchy in Amsterdam, the headline. Protests turned violent with police breaking up demonstrations last night and beating some protesters in Amsterdam, saying that the action was necessary to restore order. Over 100 were arrested there. This is El País in Spain, where dozens of students have spent over a week at pro-Palestinian encampments on the University of Valencia campus. This piece reports that Madrid's governor Isabel Ayuso is pushing for a ban on a pro-Palestinian encampment in the capital. The Andalusian government, where the protests have mostly took place, have distanced themselves from that position, stating that they're extremely respectful of the right to protest, a right which is a fundamental right to citizens. I'll cross the pond now to the US and give you the Los Angeles Times. They report that over 100 people were arrested between UCLA and San Diego. UCLA police chief John Thomas has come under increased pressure for his handling of the situation. He's been accused of excessive violence. I'll finish by showing you the Washington Post. They report that conservative judges say they'll boycott Columbia University students. In a letter addressed to the president of the university, 13 judges nominated by Donald Trump said Columbia has become ground zero for anti-Semitism. They're also threatening to not hire law clerks who attend Columbia University or its law school.
Well, Leo, let's move now to the United Kingdom, where tough new social media laws are set to be introduced.
Yes, on the front page of The Times this morning, social media apps including TikTok and Instagram will be told to tame aggressive algorithms pushing harmful content to children under new rules. It's also on the front page of The Telegraph this morning as well, reporting that children will have to show ID to use social media. Tough new age checks were unveiled by regulator Ofcom today, which would come into force in the second half of next year. Social media firms will be required to introduce robust checks, including the use of photo ID, such as passports, to identify children using their sites and protect them from harm online. Platforms such as Facebook and Instagram, who have a minimum age of 13, will be expected to use the checks to enforce those age limits. The move could result in millions of children being removed from social media sites, as Ofcom research suggests that as many as 51% of those aged between 3 and 12 use at least one social media app at home. The Guardian reports that tech companies that fail to comply with the regulations will face fines of up to 10% of their global turnover. So for a company such as Meta, for example, that would be £11 billion. Michelle Donlan, the Secretary of State for Technology, said the government would no longer tolerate a wild west where children are force-fed violence, pornography, abuse and harmful content on social media.
Well, Leo, it's now just 79 days to go until the start of the Olympic Games here in Paris. Excitement mounting, especially in the French port city of Marseille, where the Olympic flame is set to arrive this Wednesday.
Yeah, today is the day France set to host the Olympics for the first time in 100 years, of course. And this is the Marseillaise, detailing the programme of festivities. The three-masted Belém, which is carrying the flame, will sail alongside Marseille's harbour, surrounded by an armada of over 1,000 boats, before docking in the old port in the late afternoon for the lighting of the Olympic cauldron. Florent Manodou, the 2012 Olympic swimming champion, will be the first torchbearer on French soil. According to La Provence, another French newspaper, the flame will then travel the length of the city on Thursday, ending at the Stade Vélodrome under a heavy escort of nearly 6,000 police officers on Thursday evening, after passing through the hands of legends such as Basile Boli, Jean-Pierre Papin, Tony Parker. The Olympic fire will be lit in the cauldron in front of the Stade Vélodrome, and that honour will go to Didier Drogba, the Ivorian and, of course, Olympique Marseille legend.
Well, from joy now, or anticipated joy in Marseille, to despair in Paris on Tuesday night. One flame being lit while another is being extinguished. PSG out of the Champions League, Leo.
Yeah, and that comparison is being made on most of the front pages. That this is Le Parisien. You can see Olympic fever on one side, on the other a dejected-looking Kylian Mbappe with the headline, "The Great Waste." The PSG losing 1-0 to Borussia Dortmund last night, 2-0 on aggregate. The country's leading sports newspaper have a similar Olympic theme on their front page. No flame. Again, it's Mbappe who makes the front page. And it's the 25-year-old who's the focus of Le Figaro's sports page. They're pretty damning of his performance last night, giving him a 3 out of 10, calling him basically invisible. It was almost certainly his last game in the Champions League for PSG, set to leave in the summer. A disappointing end. Let's get some German reaction now. Bild have this. Hummels heads Dortmund into the final. It was rather poetic that it was the veteran who scored the goal. He was playing the last time Dortmund made a Champions League final in 2013 alongside Marco Reus, and it will be Marco Reus's last game for the club. He's announced he'll leave after 12 years, so a lovely way for him to go out. I'll finish with the Frankfurter. They have this. They say champions in the Champions League. They put it into context. What an achievement it is. No one predicted this before the season started. Dortmund are as low as 5th in the Bundesliga, the German league, but it doesn't matter. They're now 1 game away from being European champions for the first time in 27 years. Who will they be playing in the final? Well, it'll be either Real Madrid, the most successful side in European Cup history, or their great rivals, Bayern Munich, the team they actually lost to the last time they made the final in 2013. And their final opponent will be decided tonight in Madrid, Real Madrid against Bayern Munich. That's all tied up at 2-2, so we'll see tonight who they'll play.
Liam McGuinn with today's press review. Thank you very much.